Boxed chocolate cake mixes may be convenient and reliable, but do any of them give us cakes that have the intense chocolatey flavor and moist, delicate texture that we crave in a homemade cake? Let's put it to the taste. Welcome to the Taste Test, the show where ATK reviewers go above and beyond tasting ingredients so you can make smart decisions when you shop. Now with me today is Joanne Chang, the owner, founder, and pastry chef of Flour Bakery, which has 11 locations now in the Boston area. Welcome, Joanne.
Thank you. I'm excited to eat cake.
Joanne, last time you were here, we tasted yellow cake mixes, and today we have the sequel. We had to have you back.
Of course.
Yes, we're going to do chocolate cake mixes.
I can't wait.
What do you think is the ideal chocolate cake?
I think the ideal chocolate cake obviously is super rich and chocolatey, airy and light, but still rich and velvety when you bite into it. The ideal chocolate cake tries to take the best of all worlds and put them into one cake.
So I'm wondering, and guess we're going to find out, whether
Yeah.
any of the boxed chocolate cake mixes will live up to that ideal.
I'm a little skeptical, but I'm eager to find out. I have to say, when we were doing the yellow cake, what we always strive for at Flour is to replicate that taste of a yellow box cake, which I remember from my childhood. I don't know that I have as many successful memories of chocolate box cake, so it'll be interesting to see what we get to try.
Our reviews team, when we set out to review chocolate cake mix, actually went and looked at all the top selling brands in the United States.
Okay.
And we wanted to find out from each brand what they considered their most chocolatey cakes. Because we agree with you, that's the number one criteria for a chocolate cake. It's got to taste like chocolate.
It's got to be chocolatey.
Yeah, so we'll find some good ones for people at home, hopefully, or we'll find out if people really need to make their own.
I can't wait to eat cake.
Well, here's our first great big old slice of chocolate cake.
Okay. Ooh, it's so soft and so light. I feel like it could sprout wings and fly away. It's so light. Hopefully it's rich and moist. It's a little bit lighter in color than I am used to when I think about a deep, dark chocolate cake. Mm-hmm. Can you tell that's chocolate?
No, I can't. It doesn't smell very chocolatey.
We shall see.
We'll see if it tastes better than it smells,
Yes.
which is...
Nice and soft.
It's not super chocolatey, but
not
it's a
super
nice
chocolatey.
flavor, pleasant.
But it's not dry. It's fairly moist. It's really tender. It just doesn't have that deep, dark, rich chocolate flavor that I want.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes if you're blindfolded eating a chocolate dessert and you can't tell that it's chocolate, that's a fail.
Wah wah.
Yeah, so unfortunately this didn't smell chocolatey, but it actually tastes a little more chocolatey.
I think it's those little chips. I just got a little chip
Yeah.
and it melted and I tasted chocolate. But it's definitely tender and moist.
Let's find out what it is.
Great.
So this is the Betty Crocker Delights Super Moist Triple Chocolate Fudge Cake.
Well, they got the moist part.
Yeah,
it's pretty
definitely.
moist.
Yeah.
I don't know about triple chocolate fudge. Didn't taste very rich to me.
No, it's a very nice, pleasant chocolate flavor, but I thought it was nice, like once you got the chocolate chips, and
Sure.
it was very moist and light and,
Right.
kind of nice. I bet with frosting, it's not too much. The triple chocolate, they have cocoa processed with alkali, red Dutch chocolate, and dark Dutch.
Okay.
And also chocolate chips. So that's probably the three kinds of chocolate that they're
Okay.
talking about having in here. This also says there's pudding in the mix. That might have contributed to that moistness.
It's nice and moist.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Let's see what the tasting
Okay.
panel said. Well, they also found it light and fluffy with mild chocolate flavor and vanilla notes. And the melted mini chips added little sweet chocolate pockets throughout. They recommended it, and I
Okay.
guess I would recommend it as well. I don't know how you feel.
I would recommend it, but I wouldn't be excited about it because it's just not chocolatey enough. But it's a good cake. So if you're short on time and you want something, and as long as you're not hoping for something really deep and dark and rich, I think this would be a good option.
Yeah, I wonder if you could throw in more chocolate chips, or would that
I
make
like
it
that
sink?
idea.
Would that work?
Totally. I think that's
Ah.
actually really smart.
Yeah, maybe that would give it that little extra oomph that gives it a homemade-ish kind
Right.
of feel. This is pretty.
It's got kind of a funny little top. I don't know if yours is doing
Kind
the
of
same
bubbly?
thing. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
bubbly.
That's interesting.
Like a little, oh wow, look. Like a little skin.
Oh.
Interesting.
Brownies do that
Okay.
sometimes.
This feels denser. It
Yes.
feels heftier.
Yeah, just picking it up, you feel
Yep.
a little more substance there.
Still smells the same though.
Yeah.
Do you get any chocolate?
Nope.
No.
It's
not
just
really.
kind of neutral.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's probably cake here. I wouldn't necessarily call it chocolate. All right, let's see what it tastes like.
Moist.
Yeah, a little more chocolatey came through.
It's also, I can taste the salt in a good way. I can tell that it's been seasoned with a little bit of salt so that it brings out, that maybe that's what you're tasting when you say it's a little bit chocolatey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how a little bit of salt will bring out a sweet thing a little more. It has that opposite effect almost.
Yeah, there's just like a slight, the aftertaste, like a sharpness in a good way.
It's still not the intense chocolate
Yeah.
experience that I'm looking for.
No, I
How
liked
about you?
your idea from the other one. Let's get some chocolate chips and fold it in there.
Throw in another whole handful
Yeah.
or two. Let's see what it is.
Okay.
Pillsbury Moist Supreme Devil's Food Cake.
Delightfully moist,
Yeah.
says the little guy.
They're trying to make us think moist. I think it was moist.
It was moist.
It wasn't like super moist, but it wasn't dry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Again, like I'm just kind of curious to see what kinds of cocoa are in here. Cocoa processed with alkali.
Okay.
Cocoa processed with alkali is Dutched. That's another term for it that we use a lot. We've done tastings where we use Dutch versus natural cocoa powder and try
Right.
to figure out like what's the difference.
Right.
And one of the things that happens with Dutch is it gets a darker color. And a lot of people look at that. We eat with our
And they
eyes.
think, exactly.
And they think, wow, that's more chocolatey.
Yeah.
To me, it tastes less chocolatey.
Right.
Our recipes always have multiple forms of chocolate in
Same,
them.
yeah.
So we will put in cocoa powder. We'll put in unsweetened
That's-
chocolate.
we do
will
too.
add a little
And the
espresso.
chips, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of espresso powder adds a little enhancement and,
Same.
and nuance to the chocolate. The chips will go in there. All kinds of chocolate will be layered in so that you really can't fail. It should taste like chocolate.
Right.
It should smell like chocolate. It should not just look like chocolate.
Right.
Let's see what the tasters said. Tasters liked the delicate crumb, good moisture. The flavor was sort of bland and needed more chocolate.
Yeah.
Wow, we are right on target there. This uses water, half cup of oil, 3 eggs.
Okay.
And so some of these are made with butter and some
Right.
are made with oil. And the butter is solid at room temperature. It doesn't absorb the starch in the
Right.
same way the oil does. So
Right.
it can taste a little drier.
Yeah, it's a trade-off because the butter adds such great flavor, but then you do get a drier cake.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's got a decent moistness. I don't think it has, for me, enough chocolate.
Right. It's got a nice texture. It looks a little bit richer than the other one, but I agree with you. It doesn't really scream chocolate. It screams, I'm a nice little chocolate cake. But
Not chocolate cake.
not chocolate cake.
So we have more cake to
More
try.
cake.
What do you think of this one?
This one is so light colored, even though we said we wouldn't eat with our eyes.
Yes,
But it almost looks
blindfolding.
like gingerbread. We have a gingerbread that looks like this.
It's true. It's kind of got a tan color.
Again, I'm not getting chocolate.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit
tiny
more.
whiff. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
a little bit more, but not really.
Yeah. I don't feel like I've just walked into a bakery where
Right.
this has just been made, or the house is full of delicious, chocolatey smell.
Agreed.
Well, let's
Okay,
try.
let's try.
Hoping for the best.
Always. Sweeter.
Very sweet.
I feel like it's the least chocolatey
Yeah.
of the bunch so far.
Yeah.
Light, airy,
Very light.
not dry.
Almost like a sponge kind of
Yeah.
texture. Big holes. Not dry for sure.
No, but not chocolatey. I think what you said earlier, throw in chocolate chips. Like if you're looking for chocolate cake,
Yeah.
I think we really need to depend on the things that we add to this because it's
Yeah.
a decent base, but on its own, this is not going to satisfy any chocolate craving.
So you mentioned that it tasted sweeter. What's a good
Yeah.
level of sweetness in a cake? We debate this all the time.
Oh,
here.
really?
Our test cooks are like, you don't want a dessert that has too much sweetness. It gets
Exactly.
too rich, it gets overwhelming.
I
But other
agree.
people are like, it's a dessert, it should be sweet.
I think if you eat it and you think, wow, that's sweet, then that's too sweet, especially because you're going to eat more than one bite, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right? And so ideally, it is sweet enough that it tastes great, but not so sweet that it hits you with, wow, that's sweet. And the first bite, I thought, oh, that's a little sweet. Now imagine eating the whole slice. You're just going to taste sweet, 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 and then it's overwhelming.
Yeah, and then frosting on top of that. Is,
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a kind of too much of a sugar bomb and not
I think
enough of
so.
chocolate bomb. So want to find out what this one is?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is the Duncan Hines
Okay.
perfectly moist devil's food.
In my mind, devil's food means really rich. I mean, we have had super fudgy, we've had triple fudge, and when I see devil's food, I think, okay, this is going to be chocolatey. So I'm slightly disappointed that it's not super chocolatey.
To me, I'm still looking for that real chocolatey flavor.
We're still waiting.
Yeah, let's see what the taster said.
Okay.
Light, airy texture.
Yes.
Skewed sweet, but not very chocolatey. Wow,
Yes.
we had so much agreement with this panel.
Yes.
One of the things that we looked at when we were looking at these cakes were what would be simplest to make. Flavor is, our first criteria, but box cake mix should be convenient.
Absolutely.
And we did give it a little bit of a demerit for needing electric mixer to blend it. And again, we really wish it was a little more chocolatey.
I agree.
So I would say this is pretty middle of the road. It was
I agree.
moist, it wasn't bad.
It's not offensive.
Yeah, no,
but
not in any way.
Nothing
but-
to write home about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have another
Wow.
sample. Yeah.
And this actually looks chocolate.
It does. It's much smaller. It's lower.
It is lower.
It didn't bake up as tall and fluffy
Right,
as
and
the others.
you can tell the crumb is so tight, which
Yeah.
isn't a bad thing, but it's not spongy. Like we've had a couple cakes so far that are literally like sponges. You can imagine
Yeah.
pouring like water and that would soak it up, but
Yeah.
this is more of a denser, velvety crumb.
Let's see how it tastes. Fingers crossed.
I know. It's less sweet, so it hits you differently, and you can actually taste the cocoa.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste like chocolate, like I think of chocolate cake, but the others all tasted sweet, a little bit of vanilla because I couldn't quite place that flavor.
Yep.
But this, I don't get vanilla. I do taste an aftertaste of chocolate, which
Wow.
4 cakes in, finally, some chocolate.
Yeah.
It's like a little bitter.
Yeah.
Like in a good way.
Yeah, it has a little depth of flavor.
I think that's what it is. It's the depth.
Yeah. It's not just sort of simple kind of.
And light and airy
Yeah.
and vanilla-y and sort
Which
of
is,
sweet. Which
I
is
mean,
fine,
those are
but
goals, but
yeah.
they're not like
they're not
super-
our goals.
Right.
They're not our chocolate cake goals.
I'm kind of impressed. Let's see what it is.
Okay.
All right. This is Miss Jones Baking Company.
Wow.
Yeah, it's organic cane sugar,
Okay.
organic wheat flour,
Okay.
organic cocoa powder. Does not say Dutch, which is interesting. And it has a pretty natural list of things: sugar, flour, cocoa powder, tapioca starch, baking powder, baking soda, cream of tartar, sea salt, and natural vanilla. That's it. There's no xanthan gum or
All those things that you can't
yeah.
pronounce.
Or things you kind of sounds weird in a cake. They're asking for 3 eggs, a cup of milk, and a half cup of melted unsalted butter.
Oh, wow.
So maybe
okay.
that made the difference. The butter, maybe.
And the milk, milk
Yeah.
has fat. Fat
Yeah.
carries flavor. I wouldn't say this is hit over your head with chocolate, but
Yeah.
it's more chocolatey than what we've had.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. The tasting panel liked the chocolate flavor, but the cake they felt was denser and drier than others. As we were talking about before, butter cakes can taste a little drier.
But it tastes better.
Yeah, I agree. I like that flavor better than oil. It was recommended with reservations. I think people were put off by the lowness of this cake.
Right.
Maybe you do want a taller, like many layers to make it tall and impressive looking. I don't really mind that it isn't tall. I'm not tall.
I guess it
and I'm
depends.
still good.
I guess it depends on what you're baking it for.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't feel like this needed like tons of extra help.
Right.
The flavor was nice.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, reservations about the looks. I mean, you see them side by side. This looks a little sadder compared to the others, but the flavor for me made up for it a little bit. I mean,
It does look chocolatier, right?
Yeah.
It has a darker, richer look to it. So even though it's shorter, what it lacks in height, it makes up for in richness of appearance.
Yeah, like me.
Whoa! Okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, no, this looks like chocolate. I mean, it definitely is darker and richer
Looks
looking.
like chocolate. It's got a
Ooh.
nice, soft, moist crumb.
I can smell a little chocolate.
It smells a little chocolatier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hopeful.
Yeah.
I like this one.
It is the chocolatiest, for sure. Mm-hmm. It is definitely the closest to what I have in my head,
Yeah.
thinking about a nice, rich chocolate cake than
It's
everything
heavy.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just hits you immediately.
Yeah.
And you get the aftertaste of chocolate.
Yeah. It's very dense. I'm just.
It's
eating,
almost
like-
fudgy.
Yes. That's
Right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely fudgy.
The other ones, when you eat it, it's almost like eating air. And this one, it's so dense that the mouthfeel is like almost creamy, but it's really rich.
Yeah.
Like it's satisfying.
Kind of fudgy, like
It hits,
kind of
it
turns
hits your,
into-
yeah, your taste buds. Chocolate, 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 chocolate.
Hey. We've been looking for this all day. This is, the closest thing to my ideal.
I agree.
And if it comes in a mix, that's kind of nice. Let's find out what this is.
Great.
This is King Arthur Deliciously Simple Chocolate Cake Mix. Chocolatey for sure.
Decadent, moist, and rich.
The first thing I see here,
Yeah.
it takes 4 eggs, not
Okay.
3.
So an extra egg.
Yeah, 2/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. The other was a
Oil.
half.
Okay.
1 1/3 cups water, and it's whisked together, so no mixer is required. You don't
Okay.
have to have special tools. It says optionally you can add a cup of chocolate chips or and a cup of chopped nuts.
So smart.
So yeah, they're giving you that little hint to extra, but I think
Yeah.
as it is, it's chocolatey.
I'm surprised. It's oil, an extra egg, but there's no dairy in there.
Yeah.
But it tastes almost creamy, but there's just
Yeah.
something about the mouthfeel that tastes really rich.
Cane sugar, King Arthur flour, unbleached, of course, Dutch cocoa processed with alkali, black cocoa processed with alkali. So it's got
Oh,
2 kinds of
interesting.
cocoa.
Okay.
Baking powder, natural flavors, and sea salt. And I think that black cocoa gives it that really dark color.
Very smart.
Yeah, and that whole thing about eating with your eyes, in this case it works, but then
Right.
it lives up to it
Right.
for once.
Right.
So, I think that's kind of cool that it's fairly simple ingredients, mixed by hand. And the 4 eggs, I guess it gives it a little more richness and moisture.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So they're calling this a deliciously simple chocolate cake. I kind of like it.
I
mean,
do
that's,
too. I mean, I think as evidenced by our plates.
Yes.
We ate the most of this one. It was chocolatey. It was moist. It was most like cake versus sponge. I really enjoyed it.
This is our top recommended mail order cake. So you have to plan ahead
I
to be
see.
convenient with this one.
Okay.
King Arthur cake mixes are not necessarily sold in every store. So
Got it.
if you definitely want this, you can order it from their website.
Okay.
Deep dark chocolate flavor really stood out also for us. And this is definitely one of our top picks.
This is the closest to my ideal chocolate cake of the 5 that we've tasted.
Great. Me too. I would agree. I think we're really in line with our chocolate cake goals. Joanne, thank you so much for tasting all
Thank
this
you
cake with
so
me
much.
today. It was so great to have your opinions and your cake experience coming to bear on these. So if you have any favorites or least favorites, what did you think?
Absolutely, the King Arthur was my favorite. I recognize that you have to plan ahead. As you said, it's mail order, and not many grocery stores might not have it, but if you do plan ahead and can get this box, this is going to be the closest, from my opinion, to a homemade cake. With so much less time and effort. I think the second would be the Miss Jones, and then it's a toss-up in terms of whether you want to say what's my third favorite or my least favorite. I felt like all 3 of these box cakes were not offensive, but nothing that I was excited about. So I think if you only have these options, I would encourage you to throw in some chocolate chips. I thought that suggestion you made early on would really make a difference with all of these.
So I think the priorities are make it from scratch.
If you can.
If you can. If you need a mix, this is a good choice. This
Definitely.
King Arthur. Or if you have a bakery as good as Flour near your house, I would
Yes.
go there.
We would love to make your chocolate cake.
And it's certainly the easiest.
That's
You just
the absolute easiest.
drive up and get cake. Here are the official results from our ATK tasting panel. Recommended with reservations, Miss Jones Baking Company Organic Chocolate Cake Mix. Recommended, Pillsbury Moist Supreme Devil's Food Premium Cake Mix, Duncan Hines Perfectly Moist Devil's Food Cake Mix, and our top supermarket choice, Betty Crocker's Super Moist Triple Chocolate Fudge Cake Mix. Our top mail order choice was King Arthur Deliciously Simple Chocolate Cake Mix.